Hussein, thank you for your time. Let me just begin by asking that the global shortage of semiconductor chips has presented a significant challenge for players in the manufacturing sector, and the automotive space has not been an exception. Just curious to understand to what extent this has compelled you to downgrade your sales focus, especially for markets such as Kenya and other frontier markets.
It's massive. You're talking 30, even 40% from what we were projecting earlier in the year. And it's quite unfortunate because we've had quite a number of builds, committed orders, builds, cars in the pipeline being pushed further and further back. So our turnaround time used to be 2 to 3 months. Now you're talking 6 months at best. Massive supply challenges to where if we had 10 Defender 110s, I would sell them all in a month. But unfortunately, right now, it's constricted in such a way that we can only receive maybe 3 or 4 in a month because of the chip problem that is affecting most manufacturers all over the world, not only in automotive, but even in video games, consumer tech, and you name it. Anything that needs a chip actually right now has a big problem in supply, and we are no different. So the 110 actually is almost a fill gap for us because now we're able to shift some of that demand from the 110 into the 90. Although the 90 does not come at a huge price advantage as one would have thought. It's almost, even some models are more expensive than their compatriot 110. So in terms of the volumes, what I see, it might not necessarily double the number of Defenders we'll sell, but it will complement the supply challenges that we have to make sure that we're able to sell a consistent number of cars.
And now maybe just a quick rider to that. Many players in the automotive distributional space will tell you that one of the challenges they face is the distributional fragmentation. How significant a problem is this for you, and how are you circumventing it?
Well, I think that's definitely a problem that will face anyone who attempts to enter this type of a market. The ways that we've tried to counter it is to make sure that we're able to segment different, different areas within the markets that we play and do the best within those segments. So for us, our strategy and entry market into Kenya was luxury. And right now we're sitting at a place where year on year since we began, we've been sitting at around 50% market share within the space that we play. This gives us scale, this gives us OEM acceptance, and also it builds that type of top of mind awareness to the customers and the base that we play within. So if we're able to solidify and galvanize that, constituency of customers that we're always looking to sell to, it gives us avenues and opportunities to be able to leverage economies of scale across the markets. Now, to answer the question in a very direct way, it's not going to be a Kenya-only solution. This is a solution that you have to get the sum of the parts to make a bigger pie. Many of the OEMs have minimum numbers within which they foresee a market to be viable. And Kenya alone is not viable for many of the OEMs outside of the light commercial vehicle distributors or producers. But for us who want to see that the customers within these regions actually get the best of what there is in the world, we have to definitely consolidate brands, consolidate countries within the brands, and make some sort of a hub type of structure for it to make sense to distribute or to have a route to market for the type of products that we like to sell.
Well, granted you deal in the luxury space, I'd imagine it is a relatively price insensitive space to be dealing in, but I'm just curious to understand, given the COVID-19 realities that the markets are now facing, to what extent has that impacted your business in terms of prospects, expansion, and what are your future growth plans?
Initially, we saw almost a 100% drop in demand and sales when the COVID pandemic came out. But what we started noticing is habits of purchase started changing. We started moving conversations from a very bespoke, individual, one-on-one, experiential process to sell to more online based sales, where a lot of the customer journey initiates and actually is carried on virtually, where customers are engaged to build their cars, spec their cars, get intimate with the specs. So by the time we actually engage with them one-on-one, that touch time has actually been reduced significantly to the point where it's just finalizing the deal. And in some cases, we don't even see the customer until the car has actually arrived. So it kind of changed how we deal. It didn't change so much the volume of deals we did or the volume of leads we got, but it definitely changed the way we interact with our customers. And Jaguar Land Rover as a company is very, very strict and very keen on how COVID matters are handled, especially dealing with the type of customers we have. Their comfort, their need to be safe at all times has been very, very heightened and been put as a very big priority. So you can imagine most of the processes that would be necessitated through the purchasing process have all been, there's a workaround that has been made for almost each of them that is COVID safe.